Respected gentlemen, joined us online, distinguished panelists and my dear friends. Very good evening. I'm Dr. Bindu Nagar, faculty and staff college at pleasurable moment for me to have all of you join us today for this panel discussion where our theme revolves around demystifying sustainability, insight, practices and impact. The deliberation this evening emphasizes on the importance of simplifying the critical sustainability as a concept, enabling us to understand their impact on individual and collective actions. In balance, sustainability means fostering long-term financial stability while balancing environmental and societal impacts. It also involves promoting resilience and ethical practices within our industry. So our focus today is to discuss on four key aspects.
First page, they have 3-week training. Second page again, 3-week training. And there's the final page. This we call Management Development Program. Here we give them all like attitude, soft skill, and managerial skills. So this is 2 weeks.
And finally,
in all,
figuring out how to make sustainability a part of everyday banking operations. And for this, I extend a warm welcome to all of you, both those who are physically present here at Staff College and those joining us online from across geographies. I understand we are eager to gain insights from our 3 distinguished panelists here who have spent a lot of time exploring various aspects of sustainability and its implications. And it's my pleasure and privilege to introduce these experts to you. Introducing Ms. Prerna, a seasoned journalist as a beginner who transitioned into eco-entrepreneurship, blending her expertise in media with a passion for sustainable living. With a rich background spanning over 8 years in prominent English news channels like CNN IBM and India Today, Prerna decided to embark on a new journey fueled by her love for exploration and her desire to make a positive environmental impact. In her pursuit, Prerna founded Ecoplore, an innovative venture that redefines travel experiences through a lens of sustainability. And through Ecoplore, she curates unique and eco-conscious travel opportunities, providing us travelers with immersive experiences while prioritizing environmental conservation and responsible tourism practices. May I invite our beloved Mukti, who is our moderator for the day, to present a bouquet as a gesture of our appreciation to Ms. Prerna Prasad. Thank you, Prerna.
I'd like to ma'am, please. This is again all homegrown.
Oh wow, how nice.
This is our in-house.
In-house. Yeah.
Meet Prachi Shirgaonkar, a trailblazing climate innovator and the founder of Cool the Globe app. As cool as a person she is. Empowering users across 110 plus countries to take up climate action. Honored as the Young Change Maker of the Year by India's Finance Minister, Madam Nirmala Sitharaman, Prachi leads the United Nations Next Generation Fellowship in India and advises Tata Power on climate strategies. She is the youngest and the first Indian on the Climate Leadership Coalition's advisory board and has received the prestigious COP27 Scholar Award at the UN Climate Conference. Prachi's advocacy has reached 25 million citizens and resulted in 2.5 million kgs of greenhouse gas reductions. Google has showcased her journey in a TV campaign while her year-long travels across India illuminated climate impacts on communities. May I invite Mukti again to
Pleasure.
kindly offer our in-house bouquet as a gesture of our appreciation.
Thank you, so beautiful.
And meets Professor Pawan Kumar Brahmi, an associate professor at the Center for Energy Studies at the Administrative Staff College of India, with a bachelor's degree in electronics and electrical engineering from JNT Pawan is a seasoned professional in the energy sector. He holds a Bureau of Energy Efficiency certification as an energy conservation building core master trainer. He needs to tell us what that is. And boasts over 15 years of experience in executing various research and consulting projects in energy conservation and renewable energy, both nationally and internationally. His expertise spans policy framework development, including the implementation of energy conservation building codes and civil aviation policies in Andhra Pradesh. And prior to his role at ASCI, he served as a consultant at Telangana State Renewable Energy Development Corporation as well. I am requesting Murthy to kindly offer our bouquet as a gesture of appreciation.
It's a delight to welcome you, sir.
May I now request our Director and General Manager, State Bank Staff College, Manoj sir, to kindly present our theme for today's panel discussion.
A bouquet for him as well. Familiar for flowers.
Not required, yeah.
Please, sir.
I'll take yours.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Audible? Audible? Good evening all. Ladies and gentlemen, let me begin with something very significant. Yesterday, State Bank has achieved 2 milestones. One, we all know, a landmark, 50 crore plus customers, 500 million customers. And the second one came a little late yesterday, and that is, we are the 3rd largest market cap company in India. Sorry, 5th largest. We were 7th, moved to 6th, and yesterday we moved to 5th. We are ahead of Infosys now. So these are 2 very significant landmarks. And it's indeed a matter of pride for us. And both the journeys have not been achieved in isolation. We call it sustained growth. We always talk about sustained growth. If you see our value system, the lanyards which we put on our neck, this also talks about sustainability. Our value system is steps, and sustainability is part of that. So sustainability is something which we always carry. As our chairman, Honorable Chairman Sri Dinesh Khara says, sustaining growth is not just about scaling upwards. It is about nurturing the roots, fortifying the foundation, and weathering storms with resilience and adaptability. And that's what we at Staff College do precisely. We nurture our roots and strengthen through, which are our people of the life, blood of this bank. We nurture, we groom them. Now, as we embark upon the next level of growth, we realize significance of sustainability. And today is the day where we are going to talk about the sustainability. Now, the panelists here, Ms. Prachi Segamkar and Ms. Prerna Prasad, who have proven themselves through their life journeys, and Professor Pawan Kumar is a professor from ASCI Administrative Staff College, one of the best among the peers, and his extensive knowledge on the sustainability is going to be very enlightening to all of us. So very warm welcome to all the panelists. Panel on demystifying sustainability. State Bank Staff College considers it's our responsibility to recognize significance of addressing sustainability within our bank. And sustainability is not a mere buzzword. It is a fundamental aspect that underpins stability and resilience in the entire financial system, more so in State Bank of India. As bankers, we play a very, very pivotal role in development of our economy, and we practice sustainability in every aspect. Therefore, organizing a panel discussion on demystifying sustainability holds immense value for us, for we bankers, we state bankers. Firstly, this kind of discussion allows us to deepen our understanding about the sustainability, and it allows us to understand the implication of sustainability as well. Many of the time we are not literally aware about what sustainability, how it can be practiced or how it impacts all of us. So by engaging in this kind of dialogue with experts like Professor Pawan and Ms. Prerna and Ms. Prachi, we will be discussing ecosystem, regulatory framework, industry-based practices, and the emerging trends. Secondly, demystifying sustainability allows us to explore practical strategies for integrating sustainability into our operations, from incorporating environmental and social risk assessments into lending, into decision developing, and green financing products as well. Discussing sustainability will enable us to identify potential challenges and opportunities associated with adopting sustainable practices, whether navigating the complexities of ESG, that is environmental, social, and governance criteria, or leveraging innovative fintech solution or sustainable finance. There is much to learn from shared experience. I may share with you all that State Bank of India has come up with a big initiative on the ESG path, and a new vertical also has been created for ESG, which is working at a very, very large scale. Furthermore, such kind of panel discussion will foster collaboration and knowledge sharing, promoting a culture of continuous learning and improvement within the industry as a whole. We can collectively drive positive changes and innovation in pursuing sustainability goals by exchanging ideas and best practices. Once again, I extend my heartfelt thankfulness for the panelists over here and all the participants present here in the hall and present virtually. I welcome you all, and I request Mukti to take it further. Yes, Dr. Bindu, you can please make coming forward. Please come in. Come.
Thank you very much, sir. And now we request the panel discussion to be open and Mukti to carry forward.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Dr. Bindu Nambiar, and thank you so much, sir. And am I audible clearly? Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So it's a wonderful evening. We have great panelists today, and most important is that we are trying to discuss something called as demystifying sustainability. All right. Today, what is happening is that I've already discussed sustainability is kind of a buzzword. All right. But at the end of the day, it's our responsibility, right? And how do we connect? What are those simple activities that we can do, and how do we simplify sustainability? That was something we actually wanted to look, and that was the objective of the panel discussion. And before I start the panel discussion, it's important for me to tell you that we have divided the entire panel discussion into 4 categories, all right? The first category is simplifying sustainability. We'll try and understand what sustainability means to you all, and we can understand what sustainability is all about, all right? And second category of the panel discussion is measuring the impact, all right? So we have 2 people from industry, practitioners, and we have Professor Pawan from academic. So we'll try and understand how do we measure the impact of sustainability or sustainable activities. Third, we go and discuss how do you overcome barriers, all right? Now there are a few barriers when we talk about getting adapted to a sustainable living and all that. So what are those barriers, and how do we get over those barriers? And last, it's frankly a very selfish question, all right? The last section is something which we want to get from the panelists, all right? So it's your advice, like what can State Bank of India, or for that matter banking and financial institutions, do more to get into a more kind of adaptive to sustainability or sustainable activities, all right? So here is an opportunity in the last question to learn from you actually. All right, we take these feedbacks, okay? So this is the first question, simplifying sustainability, all right? Before I ask the question, there are a few things that I wanted to discuss. Sustainability is a word we often hear, but sometimes we are at loss as to understand the extent of the meaning. What is sustainability actually? Is it only about increasing forest cover or not wasting natural resources, or it is getting concerned about greenhouse emissions, or is it more than that? All right, that's the challenge. All right, it is also important for everyone to understand the role each one of us can play in achieving sustainability. Now the question is, as sustainability entrepreneurs and a practitioner, all right, addressing ecological and social concerns, what is your view on sustainability? That's the first question. So how do you define sustainability? Second question, how do you move beyond sustainability, not just as a buzzword, as Prakash sir has already said, GM sir? How do you move beyond sustainability, not just as a buzzword, rather actions leading to livable future? All right. So anybody can jump in. All right.
Very good evening, all. Am I audible? Yes. Sustainability, basically, if we just see the word sustainability, it is like very common nowadays. We see like everybody speaking about sustainability, and some talks about renewable energy, some talks about greenhouse gas emissions, and everything, in my view, everything is interrelated. Whether it is the utilization of renewable energy or like decreasing the use of natural energy resources by the way of improving the energy efficiency practices. So we have to start with this, because we need to start improving the energy efficient process. Of course, there are so many programs under Energy Conservation Act. There is an act defined by Government of India, enacted in 2001, and there is a statutory body under Energy Conservation Act, Bureau of Energy Efficiency. In parallel to that, there is one more ministry working, Ministry of New and Renewable Energy, which talks about all the renewable energy activities and promoting renewable energy in the complete energy mix. They are doing so many programs related to those, and both are interrelated. If you see energy efficiency practices, means like utilization of energy. Of course, in this room we are like chilling out, so this much cooling is not required. If you can increase, I request the person to please increase it to 26 degrees, then it will be comfortable to us. So this is nothing but like whatever may be the energy required, that much only we should consume. We should not wastage the energy, which is like very precious. Whatever may be the energy, that should meet the complete country's growth. So energy efficiency would be the first step to utilize the energy in an effective way, and we should reduce the wasteful usage of energy. Then second is like meeting the energy needs with the renewable energy sources. This will be the second step that needs to be taken. And third one would be the efficient practices in utilizing these energy resources. So these three will have a like direct and indirect impact on the climate change, we say, as well as greenhouse gas. So everything is related to sustainability. For what we are doing all this? Why it is required? Because we are depleting all the natural resources. Still we are depending on coal for the electricity generation and for some other purposes. There are so many policies came by Government of India in addressing these. Still we are in a lower pace. We are having the decreasing the utilization of natural resources. Of course, the impact has been started, but why we should do this? Because if we deplete all the natural resources available in a faster mode, so the next generation, so we are answerable to them.
Yes.
Next generation should require certain kind of energy for their needs. If you see in energy, electricity we can say is the mother of complete sources now. Without electricity we cannot think of a day. We start with electricity in the morning and we ends up with that. Even I think even while sleeping, electricity will support us. So we should not deplete. We should be like very much cautious in utilizing the energy sources in an effective way. In my view, sustainable energy is not only just saving the energy, but we are responsible providing the energy sources to the next coming generations.
Future generation, that's more important.
That is very much important.
Right.
This is from my end. There are so many policies, later we will have a discussion.
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much for that response, and you actually practically demystified sustainability when you took that example. Okay, thank you so much. Prachi, Prerna.
Professor focused on the energy aspect of sustainability, which he ended saying that our life cannot function without electricity. That is so true if we think from that perspective. I would like to focus on the individual aspect. So as an individual, what is my responsibility, or how can I contribute to reducing the carbon emissions or greenhouse emissions which is happening? We were discussing earlier in the day, like my definition of sustainability would be reducing consumerism. Whatever you are buying, whatever you are repurchasing, as less as possible. Not purchasing things which are unusable, or maybe you'll just use once and throw it away. Or maybe not using single-use plastic. It's similar to that. Like in life, we were discussing, like there was a time when we used to buy clothes once in a year or twice in a year on special occasions. Now we step in a mall, if we like something, we just buy it. We don't even think that why are we buying it or what is the purpose, and we might not even wear it more than once or twice. So I think consumerism, or reducing the purchase of unnecessary stuff, and whatever is there in your household already existing, first use that to the fullest and then buy something new. And there is this perception that sustainability means suppose shifting to bamboo brushes, or maybe buying clothes which are more organic or made out of cotton. But I believe that first use what is there with you instead of buying a bamboo brush. If you have a plastic brush, first use it and then shift to a bamboo brush. So I think it's reducing consumerism.
All right. Thank you so much. That's an interesting concept, reducing consumerism. I remember an example, everybody knows this example. Faculty members, I keep saying this example. There is a brand called Patagonia. It's a US-based company. They manufacture winter jackets, adventure jackets actually. Chivon Yonard is the owner, and this gentleman is very, very planet conscious. I remember there was an advertisement he gave in the front page of New York Times, saying that don't buy this jacket, because every time you buy this jacket, we spend 125 liters of water to manufacture this jacket, and 125 liters of water is sufficient for a family of 4 to survive for 7 days. You can call it demarketing or anti-marketing activity, but at the end of the day, Patagonia says that if you do not have a jacket, come to me, I'll give it to you. If you do have a jacket, send it to me, I'll mend it and give it across to you. I thought that was a brilliant example, reducing consumerism. Prachi.
Amazing. Looks like we have a very young audience today. How many of you are under 27? Give me a show of hands. Oh, great. I just turned 26. So now to me, anybody more than 26 is old. So we are all young. And even sir was just telling us about how he is very young at heart and he'll beat all of you in tennis. So then we have no reason to be very formal. We are a young audience today.
Sure.
And then I can be honest with you. And the honest truth is that before I started my journey, even I believed sustainability is a buzzword. Or forget about believing that it's a buzzword, I did not think about sustainability at all. A lot of my colleagues in this space are born environmentalists, and I'm ashamed to say that I was not so. But I always knew that I wanted to have an impact-driven career, and I wanted to make some kind of a difference through my career. So I remember when I had to decide which field I'm going to choose, I had done a Google search on what is the biggest problem in the world right now. You want to guess what came? So, climate change. And I was very surprised to see this because all global scientists, organizations, people around the world were talking about how climate change is the most pressing issue in front of us and how sustainability is extremely crucial in this day and age. Nobody around me was really talking about it. So I read up more about it. I read about the catastrophic impact, global warming, coastal erosion, rising sea levels, loss of biodiversity. It all seemed very scary. But then I had a moment of honesty with myself and I thought, yes, it does seem worrying. I don't think I care about this enough. At the time I thought, in India we have so many issues in front of us like poverty, education, illiteracy. Why should I care about polar ice melting in some other part of the world? And so I decided to abandon sustainability, and for a year I thought, let me then work on things that I do care about. So I spent the next 2 years traveling across India. I worked with farmers, waste pickers, taught children, and in the course of doing that, something very interesting happened, which is that I kept seeing climate change everywhere. I remember meeting a young boy. I asked him, if you get one wish and you could ask anything in the world, what would you ask for? He said, I would wish that my house doesn't get filled with water again. Now a 12-year-old boy gets to ask for anything in the world, and this is what he has to ask for. That's when I realized that climate change is not just about extreme weather events like floods. It can also mean that a young boy has to worry about something as basic as a shelter above his head. I met another girl. I asked her, which standard are you in? She said, I don't go to school anymore. Why is that? It was because her house got water only for 1 hour in the afternoon. Nobody else could afford to stay at home during that time, so she had to stay at home. Now this was around the time her town was seeing a drought. Water was being used scarcely. And that was the first time I realized that when I read in the newspaper about how droughts and extreme weather events have increased because of climate change, that also means that a bright young girl has to skip school and stay at home to fill buckets with water. And this I care about. I met a farmer who could not afford to keep farming anymore. The weather had got so unreliable. And so during the course of that time, I kept meeting countless people like that when I was working on things that had nothing to do with sustainability. That made me realize that climate change is not just about these big words we hear about, like global warming, coastal erosion, and sustainability is not about these buzzwords and these high-level discussions we have. It's really about very simple things. As ordinary people, we care about very simple things. I care about my home, my food, my family, my livelihood, the people around me, and climate change impacts all of this. And it's because of these very simple reasons that we must all become sustainable.
Thank you. Thank you for that perspective. So what it did was a mindset change, and that is exactly what is required. All right. So the collective responsibility. And when you see these examples of those, kids I mean, they're fighting for their daily needs. At the end of the day, this is all the thing that we need to do. We need to move beyond buzzword. Sir, if I can request your perspective.
Yeah, sustainability, like if I feel this is nothing new for all of us. We all, our ancestors, we are very close to sustainable living unknowingly. We were not thinking about that, whether that is sustainability, but we were very close to that. Like Professor Pawan said, energy, like Ms. Prerna said, consumables, consumerly, and the thought-provoking things told by Prerna. This tells me that we all need to go back to our roots. If we start living the way our one or two generations before our forefathers were living, if we start living by that, I think we will achieve the desired goals of sustainability. We are very firmly rooted to the sustainable cause, but somehow probably we digressed. If I may quote how deeply we are close to sustainability and we need to go back to that as such, there's one anecdote from Ramayana, if I can quote. Now Lord Rama, Ayodhya temple, and then come Ramayana on the TV. If I can quote that, when Lord Ram, Lakshman and Mata Sita, they reached to Chitrakoot and they wanted to stay in the forest as such, and they wanted to make a hut over there for their stay as such. And Lord Ram told to Lakshman that, look, we are going to stay here with everything. Make sure that we don't harm any bird, any tree, anything around here. We are not supposed to create any disruption. We want to live with them. We don't want to displace them and live. We want to live with them. That is what sustainability to me.
Thank you so much for that perspective. And if I have to summarize the first section of the panel discussion, Pawan sir talk about the energy efficient processes, and you talk about the different acts that are already made, and we need to realize those important acts, and you talk about efficient practices regarding sustainability. Prerna, reducing consumerism, that I thought was a very interesting thought process, because it starts with me actually, all right, as an individual. Talk about climate change, move beyond mere buzzword, it is impacting the future generation. Those examples were very powerful, and it suddenly makes us realize that it's about the future generation actually. All right, it's not about me and my generation, it's about going beyond. And sir, you had a historical point like inclusion, all right, so that was important. We move to the second section of the panel discussion, where we try and understand measuring the impact, all right, and this question goes to Prerna. Getting involved in cause-based marketing, like you are into ecotourism, all right, it's a cause-based marketing, all right, there is a cause behind it, and you are trying to make the customer realize that this is what it is, all right, and it has got value. So getting involved in a cause-based marketing is today a priority for business, as brands that perform well on corporate social responsibility, CSR, are continuing to increase its popularity, because young people, they are very serious about what's your CSR mandate, what about sustainability. So how do you foresee the opportunity of leveraging the power of marketing the idea of sustainability?
So I started the journey of my venture Ecoplore in 2016. At that time, the term entrepreneurship, startup, it was an emerging term in the Indian market. And sustainable startups or companies working on sustainability were very few. Like in the last 2 years, especially post-COVID, we have seen this term emerge in the market. And when we started, like it took us almost 2 to 3 years just to create that brand impression that we are working on something related to environment. So what we do, I'll just give a brief on that. So Ecoplore is a sustainable aggregator company for eco-friendly hotels. So we onboard and book hotels which are made out of local architecture, and all the hotels which we promote are made out of mud, wood, bamboo, stone or any other local architecture, no cement and concrete buildings, and all these properties have a minimum of 30% tree coverage inside the campus. And the first impression when I entered this campus was like, wow, this is so beautiful because of the trees and the greenery over here. So that obviously, like Prachi was telling in the morning, like a place like this which is so green, it gives you the best opportunity to focus on your work, because that ambience is very peaceful. And so we also have this mud house in Delhi NCR which belongs to Ecoplore. It's called One Boj, and it's a 25-year-old mud house which belong to architect Revati and Vasant Kamath. They are pioneers in sustainable architecture, and they started working on sustainable buildings 40 years back. So first 3-4 years, the question was that how do I see it on the marketing perspective. It took us almost 4 years to make people understand that we are not a regular travel company like any other travel companies in the market. We are focusing on sustainability. So for us, travel is second. The sustainable aspect of these hotels come first. So it does take a lot of time to market things when you are working something which is out of the box. And it was also because we were trying to change the consumer behavior. So if you are selling something which is already in demand, or you are replicating a new something which is existing in the market, then it becomes easy. But when you are trying to change the mindset of the people, the way they think, even like earlier days, when we used to go for holidays, we used to go to our relative's place. But now the concept of holidays have become very, very regular. Like almost every month, especially youngsters, they want to go for holiday, be it weekend holiday or a 2-day, 3-day thing. So it has been a consistent effort of almost 7 years that now people have recognized Ecoplore as a brand which focuses on sustainability. So marketing like does it takes time, but I think over a period of time you have a lot of advantages.
Thank you so much. So you talk about sustainable architecture, One Boj, and it's like a classical marketing kind of thing, positioning the value proposition. So it's not about hospitality, it's about sustainable aspect of hotels. If I'm not wrong, Prerna, while I was discussing with you, I remember a conversation with you where you said, Mukti, we are trying to do something unique, and every time, let's say Mukti goes and stays in a Ecoplore property, when I exit, I also get a certificate saying that this is the amount of carbon credits you have saved. Are you serious about it? I mean, is it working? Like?
Yes, you made me remember. I actually missed telling, like, we got the carbon emission calculated by a Europe-based company which are emitted by the hotels in India. So we figured out, like, on different aspects, like energy was like one major aspect of that calculation. We figured out that while our eco hotels, they emit just 9 kg carbon per room per night, a luxury hotel in India emits 1,000 kg carbon per room per night. So the difference is magnificent, and a normal budget hotel emits 75 kg carbon per room per night. So even there the difference is huge. So when you said that we actually do this, that when a customer travels through our platform, we indirectly tell them that you are contributing in reducing the carbon by choosing a sustainable holiday.
In marketing, we have something called as physical evidence. This is the best example of physical evidence, because this is what I say. I go and tell the audience, my friends, that this is what I have contributed just by selecting Ecoplore. Brilliant. Thank you so much. The second question is to Prachi. Like, you run an app, Cool the Globe, okay? Communicating and convincing the customers regarding the environmental challenges impacting people around the world is not easy at all right? Till the time I saw Cool the Globe, I thought, okay, what kind of a company? But the moment I saw that app, Then I thought, okay, this is exactly what I want, and I can quantify how much I save. Now, specifically for firms dealing with issues on sustainability, it's a challenge. Now, just an example, when you go to your app, Cool the Globe, it says, okay, if you skip poultry for a month, you actually save this much of greenhouse emissions, all right? You're in Hyderabad. This is a biryani loving crowd. How do you convince them? That's the question. So what are the challenges involved actually?
Good question. And I'm not going to try and stop Hyderabadis from eating biryani for me. But I met one of our users the other day. He's a 60-year-old man, and he was telling me, for the past 30 years, I've been very dedicated to sustainability. I've been trying to bring it in my home in every possible area. I've been successful. But so far, till now, my biggest regret was that all my family members considered me a villain. So I was an inconvenience to them. They called me Mogambo, sustainability Mogambo, and I felt very alone in this journey. Now I came on the app and I realized that I'm not alone. There are people like me around the world who are just as serious about this as I am, and this is a collective mission that we are going on. So I think the biggest challenge that any of us face is that sustainability often seems like a lonely journey,
yes.
Whereas it is not. It is a collective fight that we must fight together. I started Cool the Globe app from the dorm room of my college, and I built it through the 3 years of college while I was learning. And when I launched it, before we started to launch it, I remember having a conversation with my father, and we said, I don't know if anybody else other than you and me are going to use this app. Right. I had no faith that people would want to not just learn about climate change, but also want to make changes in their own lives, because it's a difficult thing to do. But I was surprised by people. What we did really was, I launched the app and I realized that this is just the beginning. The real task, like you said, is in convincing people that in the face of something as big as climate change, our actions matter and we can make a difference. So what we did is I gathered around some other young people, some friends of mine, and we started making very simple videos on what the common man can do about climate change in their own lives. And our message was very simple. We often think that being sustainable means we have to completely change our lifestyles and we have to sacrifice a lot. We cannot live the way we want to anymore. Whereas what we said is you don't have to start with something big. Let each one of us take a quest to reduce our personal carbon footprint by just 10% every year. That's very doable. That's taking a few actions every month. And I also realized that there are different ways in which everyone can be sustainable. So the app showed people hundreds of simple day-to-day actions they could take across categories. And we started releasing these videos, and what happened next was very surprising. People shared these videos with each other. They took actions and recorded them on the app, and I saw that one action inspired 10 others and created like a wildfire of a movement for climate action. A lot of young people around the world came to me and said, we want to be ambassadors for you, and started spreading the word in their own communities. And through completely citizen-led movements like this, we reached over 25 million citizens around the world. Great. Today we have users from 110 countries who are taking climate actions in their day-to-day lives. And if there's one thing that I have to tell to each one of the users, I always tell them this: you can never be sustainable just for the sake of sustainability. Real sustainability is not a burden, it only adds value to your life. So make sure whichever action you decide to take today, now I'm sure after this panel, all of you are also going to decide one sustainable action that you're going to implement in your life, right? Give me a show of hands, who's going to do that? Okay, so all of you have to decide one action right now by the end of the panel, sustainable action that you're going to implement in your life. And the rule is this: it has to be a simple sustainable action, but it has to bring you joy. It has to bring you happiness, and it has to align with the other goals in your life. So one of our users, his goal was to be fit. He had started a New Year's resolution to lose weight. So he started going to his office on a cycle instead of a car. He recorded saving about 60 kg CO2 emissions on the app, and he lost 5 kg weight by the end of the year. So it was not just about sustainability, it also made him healthier and added a few years to his life. Another person came to me and said that I hate that we've been spending so much money, so I've told my wife not to buy new clothes. So we put that on the app, and we saw that we saved 10 kg of CO2 emissions this year because she cut down on her shopping, and I saved a lot of money in my wallet. Whatever action you choose to do today, make sure there is an action that brings you joy and doesn't give you guilt. And if there's something you like doing, if you want to eat Hyderabadi biryani, chicken biryani, go ahead and do that. Just go on the app and check the CO2 emissions that you consumed and make a conscious choice.
Right. So it's all about nudging the customer, and Cool the Globe app is always there to nudge you to take those simple but great decisions.
Absolutely.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much, Prachi. I go to Professor Pawan. As a faculty member representing Administrative Staff College of India with expertise in sustainability, you likely engage with organizations aiming to measure the impact of their sustainability initiatives. Can you just deliberate or shed light on the key challenges and considerations when it comes to effectively measuring the impact of sustainability efforts within business as well as communities, and what framework or any methodology that you have, if you can recommend to address any challenges? So that's the question.
Thank you so much. Basically, I can start with government. Act came in 2001. I was just explaining about that act. Energy conservation. There are so many programs defined in the act. In either way, we can conserve energy with certain kind of programs addressing various sectors, industries to something, buildings and everything. They have certain kind of programs. There is one code which was very interesting. It was mentioned in the act, Energy Conservation Building Code.
Energy Conservation
Building Code.
Okay.
This is a code defined under the provisions of Energy Conservation Act 2001. And the code came interestingly in 2007. Bureau taken some time in developing the code. The code says like there should be certain kind of sustainable practices while constructing building, choosing the materials as well as energy efficient usage in the building. And there was a parameter to check that energy performance index. Energy performance index is nothing but kilowatt hour per square meter per annum. So this is the parameter. With that, they have developed the act at national level. I was in some private agency during 2009. We used to conduct energy audits in industries at that time. And after I joined ASCII in this policy development, we started, why don't we start a research in adopting such kind of practices at government level. So we started working with Government of India directly with Bureau of Energy Efficiency and had a discussion with them. They said like we have developed the code because Government of India as statutory body, they developed the code. As per the provisions in the Energy Conservation Act, state should adopt that code and state has complete control and authority to implement that code.
Right.
So we started why it is not implementing, because in between National Action Plan on Climate Change came with so many 8 prestigious missions. Out of 8 missions, 2 are directly, one is like National Mission for Sustainable Habitat, which is again speaking about building energy efficiency. Second is the enhanced energy efficiency that related to industries. There are even financial mechanisms developed under National Mission for National Action Plan on Climate Change. Then another is National Solar Mission. That was like,
right.
These are the activities, 8 prestigious missions in that. But initially, National Mission for Sustainable Habitat says that ECBC will be taken through that. And we started research at Administrative Staff College of India. Why this is not getting implemented? So we started we thought to write a position paper, what exactly, what people are thinking. There are so many rating programs, IGBC as well as GRIHA at that time. And even a few more rating programs are available. What is the percentage of the people who are using these rating programs, and why this Energy Conservation Building Code? Because all these rating programs again refer that code, Energy Conservation Building Code, which like for the energy performance of that complete building, if that is going for a rating program, that refers, this should comply with ECBC. So then why not ECBC? Going for a rating program, but not why ECBC? Then we thought, and we even searched all the bank websites. is there any soft loans provided by the banking sector for such kind of sustainable constructions? We found one or two bank, I think one private bank, ICICI bank, something like that. They started something, but it was different. Say green window, they said. It is the objective of green window is something different. Later we realized that. Then even had a discussion with the key stakeholders, real estate developers. Across India, we have conducted several workshops. Everybody says like different opinions we received. We use it as marketing tool. Please make it as mandatory. Please don't make it as voluntary. Some says like it's again another checkpoint at government mechanism. It will be very difficult for us to have our business, ease of doing business will be affected.
That perception is...
Perception. Everybody has different perception. And we collectively collected all the information from the stakeholders, and we have conducted one national level workshop where we have invited municipal administration department, central level, MOUD, as well as energy department, because energy department developed the code. That enforcement mechanism will only take place if urban development department like ensures like the code implementation is going to happen. Yes. So urban department also we brought both into one platform, and we conducted one workshop there. And we came to Andhra at the time, Miss Minnie Matthew was the chief secretary. There was so much power cuts, and ma'am asked us to come, and we have explored like, ma'am, this is the research we did. And she like, no, we should take this kind of activities. We should initiate this kind of sustainable construction practices. And formed a committee where ASCII is the member convener to that technical committee. And we started thinking of like brainstorming is happening. The condition is like we should not add one more process. We should not delay the building permissions, and we should ensure the building should be like sustainable. So in that, the committee was sitting and we were discussing on so many aspects, how we can take it forward, and whether to train the officials and making this, routing these applications through that. And so many deliberations are going on. Then one idea came like not to have certain kind of government checkpoint. Instead of that, we can have a third party model. Okay. So where we have developed a third party assessor model, these are the experts who are really working in this IGBCR existing rating programs on energy simulation. Basically, energy simulation is before constructing a building, they will virtually they will construct a building through certain kind of energy simulation software, and they will check like what is the energy consumption in near future after constructing the building. So certain kind of simulations they will do. So those people we can use them as a third party assessor, and those people will check and ensure that these buildings are going to be energy efficient, certain kind of framework with checkpoints. Only one certificate needs to be checked by the government authority along with the building application. So we have simplified complete process, and government of United Andhra Pradesh accepted and issued an amendment to the building bylaws at that time. This was the first time in the country, Andhra as well as Telangana. These are the only two states mandated energy conservation in building code for the commercial buildings. And taken further for the practical implementation. Without energy conservation building code compliance certificate, no commercial building is going to get any kind of building permission approval. So this is the transformation we could able to bring while working with government. Second challenging is who will be the TPS, capacity building, pool of expert, and which is like something everybody is speaking on paper, but we are already incorporated. We started working on that. We could able to conduct certain kind of certification programs, and we could able to create pool of experts within the state of Telangana and Andhra, and we could able to have around 50 plus third party assessors in Hyderabad, and they are supporting the cause of implementation of energy conservation building code. As of now, we have around more than 800 buildings under energy conservation building code compliance, and which are like going to, it is like estimated that around 370 million units of energy is going to conserve in near future with those kind of practices. And similarly in Andhra, there are 800 plus buildings, but the energy consumption level, if you see, it is around 20 million there because of the area. The number of buildings might be more, the area of the buildings are comparatively less than compared with Hyderabad. So this is the achievement we could do. In latter developments, amendments of the Energy Conservation Act happened in December 2023. The Energy Conservation Building Code was renamed as Energy Conservation and Sustainable Building Code. It talks about water conservation and whatever may be the green features what all the rating programs will be speaking. So everything is incorporated in the new version of the code. I think soon, within a couple of months, the new code is also going to come back. Once that comes, here again the process we have very simplified with government. Like every time when Bureau of Energy Efficiency brings a new code, that will be defaultly applied in the state and that will be implemented. So there is no need of further paperwork, again amending and anything. So it's just we can adopt and implement those code. So this is the thing we did. And the challenging part, what you are mentioning is like quantification and impact assessment of this building, which will be very difficult to get the data, though it is software related, but which is very difficult to analyze each and every application. There are so many applications, there are so many discrepancies we found. So we are right now we are working with government to rule out all these discrepancies in this process even.
Thank you so much for that perspective.
Can I add a point? Because what you were saying is very, very relevant, and because I work from like on the sustainable buildings, and the building, like that first major, the largest carbon emission happens is due to the construction of any structure. So sustainability plays a very important role over there. One of our hotel partners, he mentioned that it is very difficult to apply for a loan. I'm just asking, I do not know the technicalities, but he said that it's very difficult to apply for a loan if you are building a vernacular architecture. So suppose I want to build a mud house, I cannot get a loan. And they were refused loans multiple times by the bank over there, because mud house is not a pakka construction, and that's why it doesn't qualify. So I believe because it's setting a good audience belonging to the banking sector.
It's kind of a food for thought then.
Yes, it should be, because when you're talking about sustainable buildings, the architecture of the building is the first biggest important role.
So, I mean, it's a question to us. All right, okay. Now you talk about energy conservation code, sustainable practices in building infrastructure, and policy making and enforcement is important, but at the end of the day, simplifying the process when it comes to sustainability, as you have given an example, is very, very important, and it's actually a take back for us actually. We need to think about it, because when the entire world is moving into sustainable practices, we need to think about this as well. All right. Thank you so much. Sir, your thoughts?
Let me start. Audible? Yes. Yes, sir. No? Okay. Let me start from my right first. I certainly have decided that I will have at least one sustainable initiative from today. And maybe I'll request Prati only to help me on that. And record it on to the program. Having said that, not working? Now? Yeah. Having said that, State Bank of India, if I talk about the State Bank of India, as a very responsible citizen, corporate citizen, and State Bank has been and is working very, very at a large scale on sustainability. As I already told, we have created a vertical, ESG vertical, which is headed by a very, very senior officer, where we work on entire ecosystem. We have green deposits which we accept, we pay something and we ensure that it is deployed on sustainable green things. At the same time, State Bank is very conscious about entire thing, and I can very proudly tell you that all our corporate office buildings are green buildings. May it be our corporate center at Nariman Point, or maybe our local head office at 17 different cities, or maybe our ATIs, all are green buildings. So very consciously it's being done. And State Bank is bringing that in its operation also. We are bringing that in operation also. If I talk about the implication, quantification part of that, we have our digital bank, we can call it app also, YONO. And on YONO, we are moving very, taking fast steps towards sustainability, where we, paperless banking, we can talk it that. And in the previous year 22-23, if I talk about only on 6 products which we delivered, and we saved the kind of paper I would like to share with you all. We have a product called pre-approved personal loan, where on 4 click we give the personal loan. And we saved 3.95 crore paper sheets of A4 size on one product itself. We had, we open savings bank account, and we open 65% almost our savings bank account digitally, with paperless as such. And we saved 2.35 crore paper sheets of A4 size.
Wow.
Only on savings bank account. If I take other products like we have Insta Home Loan Top Up, again purely digital part of this. Yes, of course, while digital there are some other things used, but paper saved, I can call you. 9.36 lakh sheets. YONO agriculture gold loan we give. We are the one of the industry leader into that. YONO, we give our gold loan on YONO, and we have saved 2.22 crore paper sheets. So that's the kind of impact being created.
And the tree saved, sir.
The tree saved. Ultimately, it's adding to the sustainability itself. So sustainability impact is very, important aspect when State Bank, anything comes into the operation. Recently, we have launched virtual debit card as well, where the use of plastic as well as paper is going to go away, and it will create a lot of. That's what I say.
Thank you.
So we all need to be very aware about that, and we all need to adapt it.
Exactly. And it probably can be a culture, sir.
Has to be. It has to be a culture. It should not be a one-off event.
Yes.
Like one day we do all sustainable thing and we forget.
Exactly.
It has to be an ongoing process itself.
Thank you so much for that perspective, sir. Now we go to the third section of the panel discussion, where we try and discuss barriers. In a way we have discussed that, but we'll get more into that, overcoming barriers. I'll ask this question to Prerna. Prerna, as someone deeply involved in ecotourism with Ecoplore, what do you see are the most significant barrier for individuals or communities in adopting sustainable travel practices? Right? And how does Ecoplore address or overcome this challenge? One way we have already discussed, like it was like how do you convince the value proposition, but then there are barriers, and how do you overcome?
I think if any of you is planning a holiday and I tell you that first think about the carbon emission and then decide your destination, I don't think people will choose that. I mean, it's practical. But if I tell you that the hotel which you are going to stay has a waterfall inside the campus, or has a river inside the campus, and it's a 200-acre property, and you have like 95% trees covered, and you have lots of activities, I think many of you would be interested.
It's a classic example of storytelling, actually.
Yes, so I think keeping sustainability is very, very important. Like Prachi also told it very importantly. One is like giving you a guilt feeling that, oh, today I ate chicken, so I'm like, I did something very much wrong. But I think the other way of doing it is like, today I took a metro instead of my private car. I'm happy that I saved this much of emission. So it's about the perspective, and also not putting a pressure. Like it shouldn't be like being sustainable means too much as a baggage or something on your head is like, oh, there are a lot of people who are very sustainable. They're very anxious. Like there's this concept called an eco-anxiety.
Okay.
So that also is like another extreme of going into it. I think we should consume less. We should be mindful about our choices. Just like before doing anything, just think about it that, okay, what will be the pros and cons of it? And if there are more pros, of course, go for it. So I think being mindful is something is very important.
Or just a thought, maybe if I go to Make My Trip or a Go Ibibo, and when I check in for a hotel, it might just, the website might just nudge me that if you go to Ecoplore, you save all this kind of like you are sustainable.
And of course, like
just a nudge to the customer.
And it's an experience. Like if I talk about my venture, then if you go to Make My Trip, you are just booking a regular concrete hotel and you will go there, stay and come back. But if you are booking an eco stay, then you go there, you can stay there for 2 nights, 3 days, and you won't feel the need of going out of the hotel, because there are so many things to do in the campus, and around the campus you get to eat chemical-free food which is grown at the property. So there are a lot of benefits, and it's about which side you show. If you tell them we follow solar panel, that may not be interesting, but if you tell them we have trekking and bird watching at the property, it is an interesting way of.
So today felt like an eco stay, staying here.
Oh, yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you for saying that.
Thank you so much, Prerna, for that perspective. Prachi, given your work with Cool the Globe, focusing on climate-friendly lifestyle choices, what strategies have you found effective in breaking down the barriers individuals face when trying to adopt more sustainable habits, and how do you encourage long-term commitment to these changes?
So what really helped was that we did not really set out to build an app. It just happened in my own sustainability journey. I remember when I started to feel more seriously about climate action, I went to my father and I asked him, it seems like such a big problem. What can an ordinary girl like me do about it? And we decided to start from our own homes. We took up a quest, a challenge to reduce our carbon footprint as a family by 10% that year, just 10%. So I started looking at which are the different activities I can take up to do that. I traveled to my college, which was 15 kilometers away, on public transport instead of a car for 2 days in a month. Or I set up recycling of all the plastic in my house. I started taking cold water baths for a few days in a month. Started composting the waste at home. So I tried different things like that. And a few months of doing this, I realized that I need to be able to measure the impact of these different actions I'm taking. Otherwise, I won't stay motivated. And you can only improve what you can measure. So then we started doing research on how do I calculate the avoided emissions behind my day-to-day sustainable actions.
Okay.
And as I started doing that, a few months into this, 2 very interesting things happened. The first one was that I began to enjoy it. It almost became like a fun game I was playing with my family. And it felt good that at least at my own level, I was doing something. And then very interestingly, maybe because I was enjoying it so much, a lot of my friends, neighbors, batchmates, people around me started to take notice and said, you're doing something interesting and we would like to be a part of this. And that's really for the first time I began thinking about how can I take this individual quest and get global citizens with me on this. And that's how we came up with the idea to build Cool the Globe app. Now, because it was so rooted in my own journey, it was easier for me to realize how to motivate people in the long run to do this. And what I realized is that not just climate action, but to do anything at all in life, you need 2 things. First one is that you need a clear goal, a target in front of you. And then you need to be able to measure your progress on that target. So as soon as a user comes in, they get a clear monthly target to reduce their carbon footprint and an annual target as well. And then on the app, they can see a host of hundreds of simple day-to-day actions they can take up across the travel they do, their usage of appliances, materials, waste segregation, food choices, energy uses. Across all of this, they can see the simple actions they can take and the CO2 emissions they saved by taking up each action. Now we started making this app, and in the process of this I spoke to hundreds of people. We tested it with 500 students, and we launched the first version. And I remember one fourth grader from a small village in Solapur called me up and said, I've been using this app. I recorded all the actions that I've been doing. But I keep wondering, what difference can one person make? What difference can I alone make? And that's when I really thought, one action, one person, it may seem small, but when there are a lot of us coming together, then our collective impact can be extraordinary. So running alone, you might get tired and pant, but it's very different when you're running a marathon, you don't even notice it. And that's what we wanted the Cool the Globe app to be, like a marathon for sustainability. And so on the homepage of the app, we kept a global meter, which would calculate in real time the CO2 emissions saved by all app users combined. And today, as I speak to you, citizens from over 110 countries, people like you and I, have taken small sustainable actions in their homes, recorded it on the app, and recorded saving over 2.5 million kg CO2 emissions.
My God.
That's the equivalent of planting 1 lakh trees. It's just the beginning for us.
Brilliant.
So,
Okay.
so these are some things we did to keep people motivated.
Thank you so much for that response. Like, I am just trying to wonder that after this panel discussion, probably the first app that is probably important is PhonePe, and the second is probably
I'm glad.
YONO, and the third is CTG, Cool the Globe.
Oh, is the third? I thought it was going to be second.
No, I'm so sorry about it. I'm so sorry about it. But I might just consider that, I mean, why Amazon? It can be deleted, because at the end of the day, I become modest after this panel discussion. So I'll waste less. Okay, thank you so much for that perspective.
But then you must call me for a panel again so we can get first place.
Yeah, sure.
Slowly.
Sure. That's again an opportunity for us. Okay, thank you so much. Professor Pawan, in your experience working with business and organization, as you've already stated, like you conduct trainings and sessions, workshops with organizations, what institutional or systemic barriers do you commonly encounter? All right, one probably we have already discussed. When it comes to implementing sustainable practices, and how does ASCII support in overcoming such hurdles?
The main challenge by implementing any policy, for example, the same kind of thing I want to add. What is the incremental cost if I go for sustainable practices? This is the first question raised by the stakeholders. What is the percentage of increment of the building construction if I do these practices, if I implement these practices? So if any person is constructing a commercial building, he says like, I'm not bothered about the practices because I am just constructing a building, I am selling this building to someone else. And also I can just give rent to complete building, I can give on rent. The tenant might be enjoying the whatever may be the energy efficient features. So what would be the implementation cost as well as the incremental cost to that particular project? That was the question raised. If we say if in 2010 or before 2010,
Right, sir.
if we get that kind of question, it will be little bit around 15 to 20% incremental cost. Now in these circumstances, there is no incremental cost.
Okay.
Because designing the building itself is like, if you properly plan the energy resources which you are going to use in the building and the orientation and the facade, how it is going to be, and how much daylight you are going to utilize, how much natural ventilation you are going to utilize. If you design it properly, that itself it won't take that much incremental cost, and it's like completely gone now. Most of the buildings constructed are like minimum energy conservation building code compliant building, but we need to bring all those on paper. So we have created certain kind of awareness to the people, like if it is because IGBC started in Hyderabad, we can say that Hyderabad is the first city in India which started promoting energy efficient and sustainable practices with certain kind of rating programs. We even had discussions with IGBC how we are going to like taking all these questions from the clients, and collectively we have developed certain kind of case studies, and to create awareness is one of the challenging thing.
Yes, sir.
And addressing the incremental cost, because it's a like split incentive problem here. I am constructing the building,
Yes.
somebody is enjoying the savings. So if my competitor is not constructing certain kind of construction, and he is going, anyhow his tenant is going to do that, he is not bothered about like there is no certain kind of incentive mechanism for us.
Yes.
So this was a major concern we have heard from major stakeholders. And one interesting fact we received from the CREDAI, they say that if you can please give us approval within the timeline, if it is 30 days at that time, if you give us permission within 30 days, that can be treated as an incentive for us. We don't want any further financial incentives. That can be treated. If you delay it further, whatever may be the cost associated in this duration, that is going to be more burden to us. So we have calculated even that. So if it is this, and if it that case, what would be the thing? Then we suggested government to give the approvals within 15 days time. So hence government, like in the final version, they deleted the days, but they mentioned like those who going for these kind of construction, the priority will be given for the approval.
Okay.
So now with TS VPAS, I think even that also like they taken up, because within 15 days, if they don't get permission, it is deemed to be approval now. It is very stringent now because of the software in between. But above 600 square yards, it is mandatory, but below 600 square yards, it is deemed to be approval. Self-certification process is there. This is the main incentive mechanism we should ensure to the stakeholders, because those stakeholders are like implementers or practitioners of the whatever may be the policies or codes which we are proposing. So those people are the sufferers, we can say. Sufferers in the sense like we try to explain them, you are not the sufferers, you are the gainers. So this message we could able to give them, and everybody accepted for this, and that's why we could able to even come out of that barrier. That was the only barrier.
Okay.
Incremental cost was the barrier. Okay. So we even come out of that.
Okay, so it's motivating the customer also.
In fact, we could able to develop one short film also. T-Hub, you might be here.
T-Hub, exactly.
T-Hub in IIIT Hyderabad. On the foundation day, with the support of UNDP, we requested KTR Garu at the time to please have this construction. This is a government construction. Please start. This is energy conservation building code construction. He agreed and he announced it. This building is going to be sustainable building. After the construction, we have completely captured the process, how the construction happened. And each and every stakeholder who are involved in these kind of constructions, we could able to develop short film on that. Okay. And we even submitted to government that can be played in theaters, and it is trending in YouTube. You can see that. ECBC Telangana, if you just Google it, you will get that T-Hub short film. It is in 2 minutes, 5 minutes and 20 minutes. Right. So we could able to do even that for the awareness purpose. I think lots of states, lots of stakeholders are working, like consultants, working with different states for this energy conservation building code implementation. In each and every training program, they will play that video. So these are the simplified process, and these are the potential barriers. These are the things, these are the process we need to adapt to overcome those barriers. So it will be clearly explained to everyone. So it is not simple.
Thank you so much.
I would like to give a living example of the energy efficiency of a building which he was talking about. So we have this one Bhoj, a mud house in Delhi NCR in Surajkund. So it's in the heart of the city. It's not in outskirts. In Delhi, we live without air condition and without fans. And that is because of the architecture of the building. We have sunlight throughout the building, so we don't need any bulbs to be switched on. And we pay just 100 rupees as the total bill for a month. So this gives the idea, like a living example of how if buildings are made sustainably, you can save on so many things.
Exactly, fantastic.
And you can live a more natural lifestyle. Yeah. We're talking about nature's capital, so I think that's the nature's capital.
Yeah, it's a healthy life as well. Yeah. True. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Pawan. It's a moment for truth for me, because we travel from Raj Bhavan Road, we go to Banjara Hills, and we look at Administrative Staff College of India. But this is a moment for me, sir, what you actually contribute. Frankly, fantastic. All right, this is what you contribute. All right. So, I mean, it's a change of perception. Thank you so much. Now, the last question, what's in it for us? All right. So let us hear it from you. All right. For banks, what is the suggestion, sir? Before that, if you have any perspective on this, sir, overcoming barriers.
See, like they have very detailed thing. One thing I tell, what awareness is very important.
Yes, sir. Agree.
Once people are aware, they will start following. That's so it should be the first step as such. Second, like once we are aware, like Prerna said, that those things. As I belong to Rajasthan, my roots are Rajasthan. In Rajasthan, we used to have those kind of houses. There was no light, there's nothing, but it used to be cool, even the scorching heat of 48, 50 degree and all that. So we never felt that they are hot as such. So that is where I was telling that we need to go back to our roots, where we started as such. If I talk about State Bank of India, as I told you, we have considered different kind of capital. We have financial capital, we have human capital, those people sitting here, and we say it a natural capital also. State Bank is very consciously working for the natural capital as such. We are financing renewable energy, though we are aware that all renewable energy is not sustainable. Right? Some part of it is not. But when we talk about, we are financing on a very, very big way for the renewable energy. As large as 23,680 megawatt renewable energy have been financed during previous financial year, if I put in numbers as such. And we have captive energy, renewable energy financing capacity, we say, that's 37 megawatt. So it's again, as I was talking about the green building, previous year we had 32, now we are close to 40, we are moving day by day, day out. And very consciously we are doing this. So State Bank as a whole, we are very cautious, we are very aware, and this is being adapted and measured as well. And that's the way we also do.
I thought the natural capital was a very interesting perspective.
Which we are.
Thank you so much. So we go to
I missed on another thing, like tree plantation.
Yes.
Okay, previous financial year we planted more than 8 lakh trees, and this year we are going to plant even more, and that's a part of agenda every year.
Exactly. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that perspective, sir. We go to the last question. All right, so it's a clear-cut advice, what's in it for banks and financial services. All right, we would like to know your perspective. Just some number crunching. In recent years, international organizations have warned that if rapid progress is not made on sustainability fronts, future generation could face a future steeped in inequality and climate crisis. Okay, the global banking and financial services is at risk of an economy in a climate crisis. This is what they say, global bodies. It is estimated that a climate change of warming over 3 degrees Celsius, only just mere increase in 3 degrees Celsius temperature, it could cost us $178 trillion by 2070. All right. So how can banks and financial services organizations like us contribute to sustainability issues? We know what we are doing, but at the end of the day, it's always great to have ideas from you. So anybody can pitch in, sir.
Yeah, probably I can start. I'm glad to be here because I haven't disclosed that I even conducted safety and energy audits of State Bank of India.
Okay.
I think 6 to 7 branches I conducted, and I could able to recognize one thing there. There are energy efficient equipments installed in the bank premises, but the practices that needs to be adapted should be efficient. In some cases, I even gave certain kind of suggestions at the time itself, and even after beyond the scope of work, we even gave certain kind of this should be the data log needs to be maintained, even for the diesel consumption in the bank, and this should be the practice you should follow to conserve energy, because especially server room kind of thing, there is too many ACs installed in that, and if the door is completely open and it's completely open to air, so such certain kind of energy consumption will increase double and triple time. So I used to give the suggestion to State Bank of India managers at that time. I think it's around 8 years back I conducted those audits.
Fortunately, we don't have server room now. Everything is cloud-based.
A wonderful thing, and I wish State Bank of India should come up with the ISO ENMS even 50001, Like QMS, you already got. I'm a lead auditor in both QMS as well as ENMS. You can get energy management system certification. Coming to like you already achieved platinum rated in IGBC. I hope State Bank of Staff College will go net zero rating also, because whatever may be the energy generated in the house, that can be consumed here. I was part of Grid Interactive Net Zero Energy Building construction in Telangana, especially it is still under process, where state government is going to construct that. Whatever may be the energy generated, that excess energy, amount of energy that generated from the building itself, we can pump back to the grid. And based on the grid's requirement, the generation will happen in the building. So building will like regularly talks with the complete grid. So such kind of practices, I think you have the scope.
Sure.
You already achieved platinum. I think you may achieve net zero even near future. Finally, I request State Bank of India, I think this might be the right platform. Please introduce certain kind of financial mechanisms for providing soft loan for the energy efficiency in across the sectors, like in industries, because people are like wanted to invest something, but it's a risk-based approach. But I think certain kind of study needs to be done. There are certain kind of programs by Bureau of Energy Efficiency to create certain kind of financial platform. If we have certain kind of pilots within the state or within some area, if you could select certain kind of industrial area or something like that, if you provide certain kind of soft loans, priority loans or something for this energy efficient practices, whatever may be the return on investment, that can be again they can use the tool as through escrow account or something, they can pay back to the bank on regular intervention, because ESCO already proven that it is possible in energy efficiency. I think such kind of intervention, if it is done from State Bank of India as a leader in India, I think it will be taken by all the banking sectors. These are the three suggestions.
Thank you so much for that feedback, sir.
Yeah, in fact, like if I can say, we have that reverse metering thing is almost done. We had 100 kV, which now we have moved to 150 kV, and the reverse metering we are. So yes, of course, we have not gone to the certificate, but I'm sure we are net zero today, even today. That's what we can tell you that such. Certainly, State Bank is very, very conscious, and more so State Bank Staff College about that. Yes, Mukesh.
Sure, sir. Any other? No, I was just trying to search, sir. I'll just connect to what you have said. Like there are organizations like Selco, Solar Electric Light Company of India. This company has been started by Magsaysay Award winner Mr. Harish Hande. What they do is that they manufacture solar lights, but that's not important. What they also do is that they also have an organization called Selco Foundation, and they actually go to slums and they convince people in the slum, because in a slum that's a floating population and they heavily depend on firewood. All right, so they convince that firewood is not healthy. It's not. I mean, it will impact your health. So what you do is that you take the solar light. But at the end of the day, when you give the solar light to that population, floating population, somebody has to recharge that solar light, right? So what they do is that out of 15 households in that slum, they find out somebody elderly and they say that, okay, you become a micro entrepreneur. All right. And what this gentleman does is that when the floating population goes every morning to work, they hand over the solar light to that person, micro entrepreneur, and the responsibility of this micro entrepreneur is to charge it. For that setup, it requires around 10 to 15,000 rupees. They go to the bank. Selco actually goes to the bank, convince the bank that here is a micro entrepreneur and you can fund him. And when the funding comes, so if there are 20 bulbs the micro entrepreneur gets, he charges 10 rupees for charging. So 200 rupees every day. All right, that comes to probably 6,000 rupees every month. And with 6,000 rupees earning, the micro entrepreneur also pays back the loan. What I'm trying to tell you is that this probably is like connecting the dots. All right, where banks like us can actually fund this activity. This is just an example.
No, just to share with you, like
sure,
we have a scheme which we are financing in big way the rooftop solar system as such on very, very economical commercial terms. It's being promoted like anything. So certainly this is going to generate a lot of energy saving.
Sure. Prachi, Prerna.
So two things. One on the building construction aspect, if we can give more value to vernacular architecture, which plays a very important role in the greenhouse gas emissions, and if loans could be easily provided to people who are making mud houses, and because on a daily basis we get like 2 to 3 different calls saying that I want to build a mud house and can you support us? So there is a silent change happening between the choice of constructions. Like earlier, everybody, if they have extra money, they want to build a bungalow, but now they are shifting to a vernacular stone or wood or mud-based building. So I think that is one. Second is like as individual, whatever you can do, and do with the happiness of doing it, not with the guilt.
Thank you so much. Prasti.
This is my favorite question. What can we do? So I'm glad you asked it, and I'm glad we are ending the panel with this question. And I think it's even more relevant for SBI because I've realized over the course of interacting with hundreds of organizations is that in today's times you must be sustainable not just for the right reasons but sometimes also for the wrong reasons. We're creating a new world over the next couple of decades that's going to be sustainable. And organizations that look at sustainability at the core of their operations are going to be leaders of the new millennia. So you must become sustainable not just because it's the right thing to do, but also because it's the profitable thing to do. And it's something that one has to do to survive and thrive as a business in today's times. Over the course of today and the last couple of days, I've also been interacting with all of you for many months now. And I've been following SBI's sustainability journey, and I'm convinced that you're absolutely on the right journey.
Thank you so much.
So the only one thing that I can add on to this is that, like Sir said, one of our biggest assets and one of our biggest capital is our people capital. And so the only thing I can say is to take people with you on this journey, take our people capital and our employees with us. For example, give me a show of hands, how many of you knew that this campus we're sitting in is net zero? Not nearly enough hands. So we must talk about it more often and more strongly so that all our staff becomes aware and becomes a part of our sustainability journey.
And we become influencers also.
Become influencers also, absolutely. I think it's a huge deal that we are sitting in a net zero campus and we get to be a part of this panel guilt-free and in a sustainable way. So everybody needs to know about this. So even when we first launched Cool the Globe app for individuals, it started gaining a lot of traction for individuals. So many of my users called me up and said, I've been doing this in my own life. Now I want to bring my colleagues, my team, my organization into this as well. And as I went into these organizations talking about how employees can make sustainability a part of their work, I saw how impactful it can become because in an organization, especially sitting here at the Staff College, we have an immense power to engage our employees across India in a journey towards sustainability. And so we also launched an organizational version of Cool the Globe app, which would have a dashboard, competitions for employees, leaderboard. We'd be able to reward and incentivize the top employees taking green actions in their day-to-day life and work. And I would love for SBI Staff College to be the first one to use this. So I think that's also another thing we can do together. And if we do, then I'll be very excited to come to this net zero campus again.
So
thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you.
Applause, please.
Just to end up, if I can pitch in, you rightly said about our human capital. We are very proud of our human capital. We say that State Bank is a leadership factory. We could call it that way in the banking industry. And we have, we have ESG department. We have one ethics department also, which gives code of conduct, how every individual should conduct. And they are very particular and they are very focused on sustainability. That's the reason sustainability is part of our value system. we have a value system, we call it STEPS, and last S is sustainability. And our leadership talk about the sustainability on each and every occasion arises. We always trust in sustainable growth. So I hope that we will be continuing that as an organization and as an individual as well. Okay.
Sure, sir. So can we open the discussion for some questions?
Yes?
Yeah, please.
If there is any
Sangeeta,
question,
ma'am.
give the mic.
Good evening. I'm Sangeeta, Research Officer here at State Bank Staff College. My question is to Prerna. Prerna, you said that, you suggested that we should bring down consumption, right? So, if we scale down consumerism, then don't you think that it will be impacting the economy in an adverse way? And our income will reduce. There will be trickle down effect in the economy. And how will we book your hotel at Ecoplore then?
A typical banker question, actually.
So completely coming up from the economic perspective.
Okay.
So consumerism, we look at buying stuff, no? Suppose you want to buy something for your kitchen. Now, if we see today's kitchen, it's full of plastic. So many plastic containers. Now, if you want to buy something for your kitchen, I'm not saying don't buy. Go for steel items. Go for aluminium. Go not for plastic. So it's making the right choices and not buying something which is not required. So it's not about, sitting at your home with like an empty house, not having anything. It's not that. It's about making the right choices. And as you mentioned about Ecoplore, travel is something which helps you learn and grow. So we cannot stop today's generation we cannot ask them to not travel, and travel is very good, but choose the right way to travel. So instead of using a private car, if you have the bus or train available, or instead of taking a flight, if you can take the train, so make the right choices. Like the shift in choices is important.
It's about choosing the sustainable alternative.
Yes, and also if you talked about the economic perspective, somebody mentioned that, I think Prachi mentioned that data says that so many $1 trillion of amount would be required to basically mitigate the climate change.
Yes.
So the amount of money which you will be spending and which is already being spent by the different organizations all across the world and the government in mitigating climate change is higher than the amount of money like these small consumerisms I'm talking about. So anybody are spending so much of money just to fight climate change, and that's unnecessary. Like if we would have made the right choices in our personal lifestyle, I think every single step counts a lot. And it's not that me or Prachi needs, or sir, or we need to take action. I think every single individual has to act, and 5 steps by 500 individuals matter more than just 5 people thinking on sustainable lifestyle.
You might not say this, Prerna, but I'll take this opportunity to say this to the audience. Prerna had a car in her disposal today. So I told her categorically, Prerna, you can, if it's your first time in Hyderabad, you can go and see Hyderabad. There is a Statue of Equality. And she said, I have not thought about it, Mukti, but I'll check if I need to go. And suddenly I hear that Prerna calls me up and says, Mukti, I don't need the car because I've called up my friend. So why do we need both the cars? All right, one. Second, she just learned that Dr. Bindu Nambiar is also going to travel and she has to catch a flight today. She calls me, Prerna calls me and says, I don't need the car now because I'll travel with Dr. Bindu Nambiar and we can catch the flight. All right. So what I'm trying to, this is a learning for me. All right. Panel discussion, sustainability, but this is something of a nudge for me. So probably what you all do is that you are kind of, can I call you sustainability evangelist? Like you actually practice or teach. So these are the small changes if we can do in our lives, all right?
I just recorded this on the app on you and Bindu ma'am's behalf, and you saved about 3.7 kg of CO2 emissions today by doing that each.
So, any other questions, please? Like we can.
Maybe for next year's KRS, this will be added.
Okay. That's a wonderful thought. That's a wonderful thought, actually.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions, please? We can take one more question. By the way, am I audible to the audience? So who's there in MS Teams? All right. So we can also, if somebody puts up in chat, we can actually take those questions. All right. Just up. They click. Any other questions, please? Any questions, ma'am?
That's okay. Just for 2 minutes, I want to add here. We recently supported the government to bring cool roof policy. I think everybody heard last year the cool roof policy got notified.
In chat.
Cool roof policy, something like different wording. It's like our ancient practices. We used to have certain kind of China mosaic on the roof and avoiding certain kind of heat ingress in the buildings. So we supported government as a knowledge partner to bring the policy to convert the urban roofs into white, so that we can reflect back the sunlight and reduce the heat stress in the buildings, so that we can even calculate urban heat island effect. Now we are in the process of initiating that study to conduct urban heat island effect. Recently, last Monday, we conducted a workshop in ASCII. Since 1 year, because summer months are going to come, I request everyone to please adapt the cool roof strategies in your residences, so that the usage of AC will be drastically reduced. So this is my personal experience. I can say we did one impact assessment study in Andhra, especially for the vulnerable communities, where Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, massive construction was happening, where we have selected 12 houses in 3 locations in Andhra, and we have applied similar kind of orientation houses, one applied with cool roof, one without cool roof. We could able to study the temperature differences of those houses, and we have conducted a dissemination program in those colonies, and we have taken all the remaining households into those houses where we have applied cool roof, so that they can just have the cool breeze in those houses. I personally experienced this. Please apply cool roof application, whether it may be paint or membrane or tile, whatever it may be. Please support the initiative of promotion of sustainable habitat system in the states. Thank you.
And also, the house which we have has a live grass on the terrace.
Green roof.
So that's green roof, which he is talking about. The simplistic way is the way he said, but in our case, we have proper grasses on the terrace of our mud house.
Even one more technology came for rooftop solar. There are bifacial panels available now. From the bottom of the panel also power will be generated. So these panels were even installed even in CA, AGBC, if you see. They have imported, but right now the panels are available even in India. For having such kind of bigger generations, we need to apply certain kind of cool roof, high reflective coating on the roof, so that it will reflect back and the generation would be more. So even though those who are having solar rooftops, if you just apply the cool roof, the panels will not get heated and the generation will be little bit higher side. So this is observation, and you can please download that cool roof policy which is available in internet, and please follow whatever it may be said in the cool roof policy.
Just to share with you, I think it's maybe adding little fun part of it,
Sure.
but this building has this campus has a building called High Cliff. I'm staying with there as such. And I can tell you, it's over 7 months, we have not switched on AC even once. It's built. Yeah, it's already, and it's old architecture, 1941 built building, and where we hardly need a fan as such. It's so sustainability is part of the lifestyle of this campus.
Yes.
So I'm just wondering the cumulative energy conservation that sir has done for the last 7 months. staying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Please calculate and share with me later on.
Thank you, panelists. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Vicky. I mean, see, what you see here is what I wrote this. I wrote that every panelist here, everybody who's seated in that right now, we see the ethos that is essentially, reverberating is that how ordinary citizens like us can actually live an extraordinary life and bring an extraordinary change in others' lives too. This is what we experienced today during the celebration. Thank you very much.